Hey everyone, it's Truck and Talk Thursday, another Truck and Talk Thursday. Today we're taking my truck. We're taking toys from Santa Cruz, California to Reno, Nevada. So, let's hope I can do it. That's gonna be awesome. That's my truck. And I've got a topic in mind because somebody wanted me to talk about this. Somebody is Paul Wooten. He's cool. He's been supporting my channel, throwing, shout outs and always leaving comments. I appreciate that, guys. Feel free to leave comments. If it's something you don't really think I might want to talk about, just PM me with, your email accounts. We all got one. Because we got all y'all YouTubers got one. But, today we're going to talk a little bit about my skin for a little bit. I know some of you guys who've been with the channel for a while probably know what I look like, and some of you guys who are just checking out the channel for the first time, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. There'll be more videos like this. My skin is very different from a lot of people's. Paul Wooten wanted to know about my quote-unquote skin condition. And there's a funny story about it. To this day, doctors still don't exactly know. They can't pin a term to it. Some say complex neural hemangioma, complex cutaneous neural hemangioma, and a bunch of other words. Syndrome? Others say Sturge-Weber, which is just a collection of symptoms that I seem to have. Oh, stalled her. There we go. But yeah, so some doctors say it's this thing, other doctors say it's that thing. But it's a collection of symptoms, and it makes my skin red. It also does a couple other things. Now, basically what the skin discoloration is from, why I'm so red, is basically there's hemangiomas, which are collections of blood cells. If I have that correct, it's been a while since I talked about this. And basically, they're really close to the skin, so you can see it through my skin. Now, what that has done for me in the past is, it's gotten to the point where if it gets really hot, because the blood vessels are so close together, I'll get a nosebleed that'll last for, in recent years, it's been about maybe 5-10 minutes at most, which is short, for me at least. I've had them go about, 15, 20, 30 minutes. There was one that went to an hour, and they rushed me to a hospital to cauterize my nose. So, but basically that's given me the discolored skin, and and that's what caused my eyes to be darker, they say. They say that's, another symptom. Another thing that you guys probably don't notice, because most people don't look at me, and it's really not that noticeable, is one side of my body is actually bigger than the other. And another thing that happened with that was one side of my body actually swelled up, so now that side's a little bit bigger. My left arm is actually bigger than my right arm. Now, my left leg used to be bigger than my right leg, but a few years back, for no reason, my right leg just swelled up. And it was really bad because I had a pair of khakis that I had worn for Christmas, and I couldn't wear them and this was like the day after Christmas it started swelling. And my mom just thought, okay, he's been standing, because I used to stand and play Guitar Hero because I had just gotten it for that Christmas. That's how long ago this was. My mom's like, alright, you've been standing too long, Well, we go down to Maryland to visit some family after Christmas. For you Canadian and European guys, I guess you call that Boxing Day. Anyway, I couldn't really walk that well, and my mom's like, just walk it off, just walk it off. Oh, blew a red light. So anyway, New Year's Eve rolls around, and one of my cousins is getting married. And my mom's like, well, put on what you had from Christmas. Well, the khaki pants that I had from Christmas didn't fit. They were stretching out right in between my legs, and, you know, that wasn't good. I couldn't go to a wedding like that, so I had to get another pair of pants. And then she took me to the doctor's after that. So that was one thing. Another thing is, due to the swelling and due to the way of how my hemangiomas work, I've had quite a few strokes. I think the last one was about lucky number 8. Now why that happens is because due to the hemangiomas, the veins in my body are different from everybody else's. Imagine your veins as like a highway, you know, or an interstate. There's a lot of straight and narrow, like straight and, you know, a 4-lane highway. It's just straight and there's almost no turns. Mine is like a neighborhood street. There's a lot of twists, there's a lot of turns. They get wider, they get narrower. And basically what happens, the reason why I get a stroke is because there's blood robbing from one side of my brain. So that happens. And that's pretty much most of the medical stuff for why my skin is the way it is. I do go outside a lot. I tan, so... But my father is very dark. My mom's very light. I don't really get burned too much. Like, I don't get sunburned too much. Another thing is, sometimes it's hard with me to tell if I've got acne because you can't... Well, I never had acne. You can't really see the pimples that I get from sweat on my body too much. And... Oh, shoot. Cut that a little too short. But that's basically everything that my skin condition... Alright, come on. Somebody's honking here. That's basically everything that has to do with my skin condition. Now, that's all the medical mumbo-jumbo stuff. Now, it's had me go... Because of the skin, there was a lot that happened when I was younger. It was more pronounced. It was actually like my skin, everywhere that's red, was dark purple. Like, you know, so purple it was almost black. And, my skin was like light white everywhere. That's kind of the yellowish, tannish color now. But as I grew up, that started going away. So that was cool. Now in the winter, I turn really dark purple, and in the summer, sometimes it's so bad that I start like I get so red that I glow. Like, imagine a tomato in your hand that's been sitting in the sun for a while, and you know how you see like sometimes the reflection of the color of the tomato? That happened to me once. A few years back. I was in 8th grade or grade 8 for you Canadian fellows. So that was pretty much that. However, some of the emotional side effects being like this gave me was, I was picked on a lot. I didn't really have a lot of self-confidence. Yeah, I was picked on a lot. I didn't have a lot of self-confidence, especially when I was younger. But my thing is, you kind of grow up with this, so I kind of know what to expect from most people now. You know, I still get down. I had jury duty and nobody really was looking at me, which was nice. So, you know, being a kid, I'm kind of happy that this did happen, that I did look a certain way. Depression was kind of, I didn't have clinical depression, but there were days where it was just like, I didn't want to deal with anybody. You know, the teenage blues were kind of exacerbated a little bit. So that was that when I was younger. You know, it also gives me high blood pressure too, but that's also because of how my veins are. Some of the other emotional things were, you know, I'm a scary looking guy now, and I always kind of was a little bit scary looking, just because people don't know what happened, why I look this way. You know, I was born in '94, and of course, you know, AIDS was the crisis around the '80s. It was called the AIDS crisis. And people still didn't know exactly what AIDS looked like. So, of course, I'm a young kid, probably about 3 or 4. My grandfather had to go to a local pharmacy, and there's a lady there, and she had 2 little kids. Well, I was playing with the 2 little kids, and they didn't really seem too concerned about my skin. Now, I'm telling this from, you know, from what my grandfather told me, so this isn't something I remember. But, so, you know, I'm playing with these 2 little kids, and the woman goes and snatches them right up from me, and starts rubbing, I guess at that time it was still Purell. I mean, it may not have been popular or anything, but, you know, this woman starts rubbing, like, hand sanitizer all over those kids. My grandfather says, "Lady, what are you doing that for? Your kid's already got it. You know, your kid's already got AIDS. You know, he has it and your kid's got it too." And that's how my grandfather was. You know, my grandfather wasn't a smart man. He wasn't, like, learned. He didn't even graduate, he didn't graduate elementary school till, I want to say after World War II, when he got the GI Bill. Because, I mean, you know, he was born in the late 20s. I think it was like 1928, 1929 maybe. And he had to work on a farm all the time. So my grandfather really, like, knew people, like, knew how people were. I knew the things to say to people. But he wasn't too well educated. He was good with math, but English... You know, his father came over here from Italy, so English wasn't really a strong suit for him. But I'll never forget the story about, "Lady, your kid's got AIDS too." And she ran out, like, pretty much in a huff screaming. The pharmacist was like, "Yeah, you tell her." Because, I mean, you know, the pharmacist knew it wasn't AIDS. The pharmacist was pretty well educated. My grandfather knew what it wasn't AIDS, but, you know, he was just sick of people treating me poorly. And that's the thing that I sometimes tend to forget, you know. I always had a lot of support from my family. You know, well, kind of my nuclear family. The extended family, you know, I don't really know because I wasn't with them all the time. Like, I was with my grandfather and grandmother almost a lot of the time. You know, my dad, well, wasn't with him too much, but I knew he was kind of, you know, my dad had a rough life. He wasn't really too educated either, but, you know, he felt kind of sad, kind of like bad for me. You know, he loved me. Don't get me wrong, he loved me, but it was like a real gentle, I don't want to break him love, you know, I don't want to harm him kind of love. So there wasn't a lot of, like, physical activity that I could do. You know, my dad was just scared. Now my mom was the one who always kind of pushed me to do a lot of things. I mean, even just recently, there's a garden in my yard and we have a metal support for cucumbers and stuff. She's like, "We need to cut this wire. Do you have any, like, tin snips or..." And I'm like, "No." She's like, "What about your Dremel? Do you have a cutting wheel?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "All right, go grab it." So I go, we hook it up, cutting outside. My mom's like, no, 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 don't cut like that. Here, cut like this. She takes the Dremel and she shows me how to cut it so that the sparks aren't hitting me, and she's like, here, take it. While the Dremel's still running, and I'm kind of scared. I'm like, Mom, don't you want to turn it off at first? And she's like, no. And then she turns it off and hands it to me, but, you know, my mom always kind of pushed me into things. And, you know, even recently when I feel down and I feel like people are judging me because of how my skin looks, she's like, well, you know, just forget those people. They don't know you like I know you. They don't want to give you a chance. Make them give you a chance. You know, be who you are. Don't let them stop you from doing anything. So that was one thing. You know, first grade, kindergarten was cool, but, you know, everybody was different in kindergarten. It was mostly it was a lower income daycare kindergarten facility, so, you know, all my friends in daycare were either Latino, black, there was some Asians, I think they were Chinese, and then there was me. And they didn't really care, which was cool, you know, they're like, we all look a little different. There was also a kid who was missing an eye in that class, if I remember correctly. But then, you know, I got older, I went to first grade, and I went to first grade in a Catholic school. The kids there were so privileged and spoiled that anybody who looked different, they pretty much, I didn't signal there, holy crap. Anybody who looked different, they kind of judged poorly, you know. I couldn't play with them because I looked different. I was sickly looking. All I had to do was just be like that and they'd run away from me. I mean, for a little bit it felt good, but then you start realizing that, hey, you're all alone. Why are you alone? Why do they hate me? You know, was it something I said? Was it something I did? Is it because my parents are going through this? Is it because I'm not, you know, I've gone from 2 incomes to 1 income? And I blamed myself for a lot of things. I'm at the stage now in life where it's like, nah, what happens, happens, you know? But that was pretty much that. And then, you know, everybody kind of grew up a little bit. They were still, you know, the spoiled, typical punks. When I went to high school, I went to public high school. And it was just like kindergarten. All my friends, black and Latino. And they didn't really care how I looked. Actually, they looked out for me. You know, anybody gave me trouble, they would pretty much help me with it. You know, there were people to always sit with, people we would always talk. We shared experiences, we shared, you know. They just knew what it was like being different. Which was cool. I mean, I wouldn't trade my high school experience for any experience in the world, dude. I mean, I'd go back, live exactly how I did. So that was one thing that the skin kind of did for me. It kind of, in a way, put me in a place where I got judged poorly. You know, I got treated poorly. I still get treated not poorly, but, you know, I still get looked at differently now, especially when I go in a store. On average, it takes a clerk about, on average, 15 seconds to interact. That's the, can I help you? What are you looking for? With me, on average, it's about 5 seconds. And I know it's because I look different. And, you know, also, too, I really don't make any bones about it. I don't try to pretty myself up. I mean, I got some acne now. I do sometimes dress up, you know, if it's a special occasion, I'll put on a shirt and a tie. You know, just to be respectful, but still, you know, there's a saying I always had. This came from 2.5 Men. The Indian doctor always said, the Indian doctor said this, he's like, you can put a suit on a goat, but it's still a goat. You know, and it's kind of what I think. But also, high school was cool because, again, nobody judged me. Got out of high school, a little worried about what would happen. Still in high school, you know, how things were going to go. I got accepted into University of Delaware. Woo woo! So I started taking classes, and one of the classes I took was women's studies. And of course, you guys are going to kind of laugh, and you're going to think, oh, we know why he took that. He wanted to meet girls. Well, no, I needed to take it because of a, you know, lesser impressive reason. I had to fulfill a certain credit. So, I took it, got through it. I actually liked the class. I knew a lot. I mean, you know, it made me feel a little bit better that I'm not as big as it made me feel like I really wasn't as big of a pig as, you know, I always thought I was. So I like girls, you know. I'm never really horrible to them. I also know that I'm not what you would say and this is a way my father said, I'm not my father, my grandfather. I'm not necessarily a good-looking man, so. But, you know, one of the things, the reason I bring up women's studies was we were talking about makeup ads, and I think it was like Dove. It was, love the skin you're in. And, you know, it's a cosmetic company, so of course they're going to try to get people to buy said cosmetics. But the thing is, that motto always stuck with me. It always, you know, it always just stayed in my mind, the love the skin you're in. And that's why I'm really comfortable with how I look now. You know, I love the skin I'm in. I get so many experiences, I get so many looks, you know, tattoos are popular. I've got tattoos that will never fade. I've got tattoos that, you know, as I age and wrinkle, they'll do the same. They're not going to look distorted or anything. You know, that's what I always... And it took me so long to figure that out. That, hey, you look a certain way. Some people would try to do anything to look the way you look. And I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not happy with yourself, nobody else will be. So that's pretty much, you know, all I can really say about my skin. I mean, are there times where I wish I didn't look how I look? Yeah. Because again, you know, dating is hard, talking to women is hard because I know that a majority of them are going to judge me based upon how I look. Which sucks. But it's unavoidable. However, I don't really know for sure how they feel about me until I start talking to them. You know, I don't really know how people feel about me till I start talking to them. And that's another thing. You know, I was raised to be eloquent. I was raised to be a good speaker. And I've changed a lot of people's first impressions by the time when they've heard me speak. You know, college professors are not supposed to be judgmental. They are. A lot of them saw how I looked, and they thought, oh God, here's this kid. They'd hear me speak. I'd be one of the most vocal people in the lectures, in the presentations. Mind-blowing. I remember in my intro to film class, told the teacher, hey, I'm visually impaired. I need to sit in the front. I'll require some extra time on tests. If you do Scantrons, no Scantrons. She, I could tell, was a little scared. Not scared, but, you know, a little dismissive. I ended up going through that class. I ended up knowing every movie that we watched or had to watch. Because my mom's a big movie fanatic. So, I knew about Shawshank Redemption, which I think the reason why we were watching that was to see some of the camera work and the panning and all that. I knew about, I loved one of the movies she pulled out, because I'd seen it ever since I was a kid. My brother and I first watched it. Goodfellas. We watched all of Reservoir Dogs in that class. It took about 3 days to watch it. I knew a lot about the movie. I had one of the highest scores on the test about Reservoir Dogs. When it came to doing the project, where we had to pick a movie and talk about it, and kind of, do an oral presentation about it, my partner wasn't there. I ended up doing it on a day where I had, little sleep. I ended up getting an 80. Which, again, not the greatest grade, but still pretty good. Speaking of lack of sleep. I was proud. I worked. I did a movie that not a lot of people had known about. Everybody knows about the remake, especially you car guys probably know about the remake, maybe not the original. Gone in 60 Seconds. I talked about that movie and how, we had to show examples of some of the things we were talking about. And mine was about, some of the 360 camera rules, like when you see people talking, they tend to do a 360 degrees, so you see when the first person talks, you see their face, and then when the second person talks, you see their face. We did a lot for that, my partner and I. We did a lot for that project. I've not really poured my heart and soul into it, but it was fun. But I changed the teacher's ideas and ideals of how I was. This is what happens when you do a video off the cuff, when you're not scripted. But, glad you guys can see me. I'm at a red light. Well, now it's green. But, people will always, I don't know about you guys, and I hope it's not the same case with you guys, but people will always be looking at me. People will always be judging me. I'm used to it now. It used to really upset me when I was young, but I've come to the conclusion that, people are curious animals. People are also social animals. As much as you want to deny that, it's just a scientific fact. People are social animals. So, of course, they're always going to want to talk. Now, people can be... Okay, good. Almost thought I went through a red light. People can be exclusionary, but at the end of the day, there's always going to... people are always going to need people. Went through it that time. This is why I don't like driving in Nevada, really. Especially Las Vegas and Reno. There's red lights every 5 miles. Excuse me. But people are always going to... be like that. Oh, found a Peterbilt dealership in Reno, Nevada. Awesome. That's actually the next truck I'm thinking about buying. Is a Peterbilt. So, people are always going to be like that. That's just the conclusion I've come to. But, I just gotta be me. I just gotta keep doing what I'm doing. And I want you guys to do that too. I don't want anybody to feel bad for me because, oh, he can't see, or, oh, he looks a certain way. There's another thing if you stuck around long enough. At 5 years old, there was a surgery for me that would remove some of the skin coloring. It was a laser surgery. Lasers were still new at the time. I got the surgery to try and remove some of the redness, and it burnt my cheek. And I didn't like that, And a 5-year-old kid saying, why can't I just be my natural red self? I like my skin. Again, that to me is the embodiment of love the skin you're in. The embracing of loving the skin you're in. So, my mom and I talk about it sometimes, fairly often. She's like, well, you can always go out and try and get change your skin color if you want. I'm like, nah. You can always try and get that corrected with plastic surgery, and it's like, really? Everybody wants to be unique. Why would I want to try and blend in? And it's not going to happen because my voice is deep. People are just going to notice me one way or another. yeah, maybe they don't pick up on it too much after I get a surgery where, you know, all the red's going. But, you know, that's just not who I am. I like being different now. Another thing that used to happen was, I've talked to a few people and they're like, well, I didn't really notice your skin being different. It's like, excuse me? Are you blind? Really? Okay. I look in the mirror. I know I look different. How do you not notice it? I mean, I think they were being nice, and I never laughed to their face like that, but it's like, really? Really? Honestly, are you kidding me here? So, but, you know, and that's another reason why I kind of like all you guys. You know, I was really scared to do my first person, like, where you would see my face videos. Now, almost every video I do, you see my face. You guys help me overcome my fear of how I look. Now, does it hurt when I see kids at the supermarket or people at the supermarket, Home Depot, you name it, and they stare a little bit and they're a little scared when kids quiver behind their mom? Little bit. It hurts a little bit, but, you know, all I have to do is say hi and be nice, and the parents, if they're decent, you know, the parents are understanding most of the time. I was actually at the Home Depot recently. And there was this couple, and they're like, it was a couple and two little girls. And they were like, don't look, don't look, don't look. But they were saying it loud enough. I didn't hear them, honestly. My mom did. But they were saying it loud enough so that my mom could hear it, so. And my brother was waiting in the car. We needed paint. Anywho, I just stood there laughing half the time because, again, they looked like your idyllic modern family, you know. Two little kids, perfect mom and dad. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just, it's not the experience that I had, so it makes me laugh a little bit. You know, I wish I had that, but then there's other times where I don't, because I was kind of not really raising myself, but I grew up to be a man a little bit, I grew up to be a little bit more mature than a lot of people. I'm pretty sure some of you guys share the same experiences where you grew up maybe a little bit faster than you would have liked. Sorry guys, I'm trying to straighten this puppy out. It's hard in these lots. But, you know, maybe you guys grew up a little bit faster than you liked, but still, you gotta admit, maybe you had an easier time relating to adults than your friends or your contemporaries or people you were with. And when you got in trouble, it wasn't for like really bad things. It was for things where it's like you just weren't thinking, you weren't doing a lot of bad stuff. You never really got like into horrible trouble that needed like law, you know, law invested, or, you know, a lawyer, or, you know, you got caught stealing mom and dad's alcohol. You know, it wasn't stuff like that. It was like things where it's like little things, like you said the wrong thing, or, you know, stuff like that. You know, you got more mature, and you got treated better because you were more mature. That's the thing that I liked. But going back to that, you know, the whole, they're looking at me because I look different. It happens, but I'm used to it. And like I said before, I don't want anybody to feel bad for me. You know, I also don't want you staring me down in the street, but that's just something I can't avoid. That's human nature. And also, too, I can't really say anything because I stare hard because I can't see. And I don't really know everything that's going on with people. You know, I'd like to think that psychology classes made me think that I can know the inner working minds of people, but not really. as a human, I can only make a guess. So, staring at people who stare me down sometimes, maybe they're just a little hard to see, and maybe I'm judging them a little too hard. But, the other thing is, don't talk down to me. Don't treat me like I'm young. That happened one time. 10%. Oh, I'm gonna need to fix this soon. That happened to me one time, and it happened to our whole group. I went to a visually impaired summer camp. I have fond memories of that camp, too. And again, the support there was just great. I was with people who we all shared a visual impairment, which was cool. It was either one impairment or another. But, the thing with that was, screw it, I'm tired of backing this in. We all shared a visual impairment, but we all knew each other, we all talked to each other, we all liked each other, we all had good times. We went to this place in New Jersey called Clemington Park, and there was this woman, ticket taker. I saw she was doing this to a couple other people who were in front of me. I was like the third guy in line. And my volunteer was cool, but just an average kid, didn't want any trouble. This woman bent over in my ear and whispered really slow, "Have fun." So I turn around and I just do, "You too," being the ass that I am. My volunteer ends up laughing. The manager of the camp walks over to me and she's like, "Mr. Creedon, what did you say?" And I said, "She told us to have fun," so I replied, "You too." And the volunteer kind of stuck up for me, was like, "No, they're treating them poorly." And she's like, "I know." The manager of the camp was like, "I know. I'm just proud Mr. Creedon said something." I'm like, "Really? Wow, I thought I was going to get in trouble." So, I've dropped my load off. I made a little bit of money. I'm up to $232,000. Right now I'm going to go find a place to sleep because the driver's a little tired. And I might repair this rig depending upon how close I am to a repair shop. But, it was just, that was something that I thought I was going to get in trouble for. And it was one of those moments where I didn't really know what I was saying, or what the impact of what I was saying was going to be so great. But, I'm one of those guys where it's like, I stick up for people. I try to stick up for people. I try to do the right thing. Sometimes it comes out so wrong. But that's just always that's who I've always been. So, I never liked being excluded, but it happened. And that's why I never try to exclude anybody. That's why the last time I said, please be nice to each other in the comments, So, what else is there? There was something else. Everybody, even some of the parents at the Catholic school that I went to, they're like, he's so brave. My mom and I would just get back to the car after the little events that they made us go to, and my mom and I would just laugh about this. Because, to me, what is bravery? I think the policeman who's protecting you is brave. I think the fireman who's going into a situation knowing that he may not make it out alive or he may get hurt. Fireman, firewoman, police officer, policeman, policewoman, soldier. Those people are brave. Me just putting on a shirt and a pair of pants that my mama had washed and ironed and bought, that's not bravery. That's doing what you have to, That's doing what you're made to do. I was really made. If I had my choice, probably wouldn't have gone to a Catholic school. But, anyway, now that I'm in college, and when I first got in, one of the students' moms, I saw her at a supermarket, actually, with my grandfather. Of course, my grandfather always catches these people at, their best. She didn't look that great, life hadn't been so well to this person. Just saying, watch what you say, watch what you do. Life will come and get you. But, she's like, so, Kevin, you graduated high school. What are you doing now? My grandfather goes, he got into University of Delaware. And she was like, oh. My grandfather goes, hey, you know that woman? She seemed a little surprised that you got into University of Delaware. Meanwhile, I'd seen this woman before, and she's like, she was talking to my mom. She's like, so where's Kevin going to high school? My mom goes, Mount Pleasant. This woman went, oh, well, I would never send my child. I knew the girl. You know, it was a girl I liked, but they were like, I wouldn't send her to that. And, you know, the only reason these people wouldn't send their kids to my school was mostly out of fear. But whatever, to each their own. I mean, my school had a junior ROTC program, which would let you join the military. You know, use the military discipline as a tool. I wasn't a part of that. I wanted to be in that class so bad. I couldn't meet the health requirements. My school also had the International Baccalaureate, which was like, you take advanced placement courses, but beyond advanced placement courses, like courses worth college credit, and I mean for real college credit that universities would actually acknowledge. They had a radio station, which is where I kind of found out who I am, and this is why I'm talking to you guys today. I was always smooth and cool. I always had like the deepest voice on the radio station because there were only about like 4 people on it when it first started out, and then it became a class. And then other people were on it. There was a guy who had a deeper voice than me who got on the radio station, and it was cool. I didn't like sharing radio time with him because it'd just be like, no, I'm the star. No, I'm the star. You know, it wasn't like that, but, you know, I was a little jealous of him. I'll be completely honest with that. So, that was that. But anyway, this person was like, oh, well, you know, I was thinking of sending so-and-so to the Delaware Trade School. That way she could pick up like a skill or something, you know, at least something worthwhile. And it's like, okay. My mom didn't really say too much about that till I brought it up later. And then my grandfather brought up about my grandfather, and I'm going to do this in the way he sounds. He's like, well, that woman sounded a little surprised. Like, she sounded like she knew you, but she sounded like she was surprised that you got in the University of Delaware. What's her problem? And I'm like, wow, Grandpa, wow. But, you know, again, these were people who were judging me because they thought I wasn't bright enough to go to a university. Meanwhile, that person that I'm talking about, you know, is a year younger than me, in my same course, like in my same class, I guess you would say, going to the same university. The only difference between me and her is she lives on campus. And I think you guys who know me know that campus life really isn't for me. Do I take advantage of some of the things? Oh yeah, I'm a rabid partier. No. I take advantage of some of the restaurants. I take advantage of the library. That's about it, man. When I come home, I do my homework. If it's the weekend, I come home, I enjoy my time. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm 21. You know, I do have maybe a drink here, maybe a drink there. On my days off from school where, you know, it's a school night and then I have no school in the morning. Yeah. I have maybe an adult beverage here, maybe one there. You know, I gotta watch because of the medication. But, you know, there's a level of immaturity there that I just don't like. I mean, we're all young, or we're all young at heart. But these are the kids who are like, you know, getting, and I don't mean to crap on you guys, liberal arts degrees, English degrees, literature degrees, stuff like that. These are kids who are kind of there, you know, kind of living off mommy and daddy's dime. I mean, I'm not living off my dad's dime, but kind of living at the mercy of my mother. And I really don't have time to waste there. So that's why I don't really like hang out with them. But, you know, I follow the girl on Facebook. Because, you know, she sent me a friend request. I wasn't trying to play Captain Creeper up here, but... Anyway. And I saw that, you know, she's pretty much doing typical college kid stuff, you know, living on campus, doing the thing, going to concerts and parties and stuff. And it's not me, you know. I was always kind of like the old man river type guy. You know, I was the guy who's like, oh, Kevin, it's Friday night. You want to go catch a movie? Nah, I want to go to the mall maybe, buy some cars maybe. And, you know, this was before I was customizing. You know, maybe buy some cars, maybe buy some clothes. Oh, there's an interesting TV show on. I want to stay up and watch that. You know, I wasn't cool by any stretch of the imagination. I was 100 degrees off cool, and I was about 32 degrees Fahrenheit on the hot meter. For you international guys, that would be 0 degrees Celsius. I would do Kelvin, but I'm not that great at science. I think it would be like negative 368, maybe. Anyway, y'all get the joke, but, you know, again, I was never cool till about like high school. And I was only cool with certain people. But I love to joke, you know, my skin. I'll make a lot of jokes about my skin. You know, about every 3 months it starts peeling off and I grow some new skin. No, I'm lying, I'm not a snake. But that was pretty much that, guys. I mean, that's all I really had to say about the my skin. I hope you guys like this. I'm ending it here because I need to repair the truck, and it's like almost 12 o'clock here. I want to go grab some lunch. I just mowed my lawn, that's why I look kind of like sweaty, glistening. And I hope you guys like this. I need to upload this, like, you know, I need to do some work on it, upload it now. So, Paul Wooten, I hope you were able to stick around for the whole video. I hope you liked it. I hope I gave you enough depth of my skin condition that it answered all your questions. If you have anything more specific, just feel free to leave it down there in the comments. As you can tell, I really, when it comes to me, my skin, I'm as comfortable as can be. So, again, hope you guys liked it. If you're new to the channel and you stuck around for the whole video, subscribe. I'll be doing, like, videos like this as often as I can. I'm a college student, so it might not be Trucking Thursdays. It might be, I don't know, Sat-Nav Saturdays or, you know, something like that. But I just like doing these vlog-type videos for you. For all you guys, I enjoy it myself. It's not really that hard. My lighting probably isn't the greatest, but I hope you guys like what I have to say. So, alright guys, I'll end this here. Later. Have fun, be yourself. Hope you got that from me. Alright, bye.